Hi mamas, so this is Mama Confession Monday, episode 10, and just to recap our Easter long weekend, it was pretty good. It's really weird, this is like the second Easter where we've had like a COVID Easter, and my husband's family, they go all out for Easter. All the family, all the kids get together and we do a huge Easter egg hunt. My sister-in-law's house is just behind this house, and so between her yard and our yard and all around us, we hide, real eggs that the kids die and stuff like that, and then we give them quarters for how many eggs they catch or they find, real eggs, and then something like 300, 500 plastic eggs that are stuffed with chocolates and some coins and goodies and things, and then just those like regular pure chocolate Easter eggs and things that we hide all over the place. And it's so much fun for the little kids. Even my 12-year-old, even though he's kind of in that teenager angsty, like I'm kind of getting a little too cool for this, he even, like, once he gets out of his head, he's really into it. But it was just, like last Easter, it was just my two kids that were hunting for Easter eggs and stuff, and my middle child, and I was really pregnant. I was in my 3rd trimester. Little did I know, a few weeks later I would have my 3rd baby. But the front of this yard would be all for Emery, my 5-year-old, and then the whole back part was for Tristan, my 12-year-old, to find the eggs. Oh, 1 second, battery's gonna die. Okay. Alright, I don't know how much battery is in this one. I have no clue. Sorry about that. My middle child has been playing with my camera, and I can see some of his fingerprints on the lens. And he's been liking to take pictures, so I had no battery. Oh, and I still have no battery. Okay. I don't know how long this is gonna be then. Hi mamas, so it's been a couple of days since that first dreaded recording day where my batteries died, so I'm fully prepared this time. I have 2 charged batteries and my son has not played with them. So we'll try this again. So we had the Easter egg hunt, and for those of you who don't know, here in BC, the First Nation communities are pretty much all vaccinated, so it goes remote Indigenous communities and then more urban Indigenous communities. Musqueam falls under an urban Indigenous community. We're not remote, we're right in the city here, so we all got vaccinated, anyone 16 and older, and so our family felt a little bit more confident to have a couple extra kids, family members come. And so instead of it just being my 2 boys, technically 3 with Tegan, we had our niece and nephew come as well to do a bit of an Easter egg hunt. So that was kind of nice. And it was the first time I really had to hide the Easter eggs. Usually it's the uncles, the men in the house that are in the family that hide the eggs. But this year that couldn't happen, and with my husband not here anymore, he usually was always the one hiding eggs, and so it was, that went to me this year, me and a couple other people. It was a bit like, I tried to stay upbeat the whole time during Easter long weekend, but it was difficult. It was like parts of me were swallowing back emotions, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one, because it was just so glaringly obvious how different it was compared to how it used to be, and the traditions and stuff. But I don't know. I really need to light a fire under my butt and start gardening and getting my raised garden beds filled with dirt. I keep looking at that, all the bags of dirt, and I'm just like, not the bags, all the huge 1 cubic yard full of dirt. And I was like, oh, I really need to get things in the ground. I need to get growing. But I'll insert a picture of what one of my spring containers look like right now. Each of those spring containers, they're all pretty much the same except for the primula, hopefully I'm saying that right. The kids each pick a different primula for the containers, regardless of me going, well, you know, it might be nice to have them all the same. They're like, no. So they're all different. But yeah, I really need to get some stuff in the ground. My goal, hopefully, is to get potatoes and these onions. And I have the potatoes here. The potatoes, which ones are these? My mother-in-law wanted these russet Burbanks, so I got these. Last year I planted Prince of Orange, I think. Something like that. I will look it up and I will link it down below. And it's been a while since I've done onions, but I got these Spanish onions as well. So I'm going to be putting that, and I think I'm just going to put them in the new garden bed that I have out. I think. Plans. Who knows? I make my plans and sometimes I keep altering it. And that's life. Like, I make plans, reality sets in, and then I have to alter my plans to be a little more realistic or that it fits with the environment. So in one of my videos I had the sort of drawing, I had the drawing of where I was going to put all of the things in my garden. But when I situated the new garden beds and I've been watching where the sun lands, I'm thinking I might move a few things. Yeah, I think I might move a few things, but that's okay. I mean, nothing's set in stone. And I have 2 blueberry plants I want to put in as well. And I have, what do I have? I have 3 fruit trees to put in. One, what is that one? Is that a Saskatoon berry? I think I have 1 Saskatoon berry to put in, and I have 2 thimbleberry bushes to put in as well. So I have a lot to do. Plus with our community, we have an annual spring clean, and I didn't know if it was going to happen this year because of COVID, but it is, and I'm so excited because I have so much stuff that I have thrown onto my deck and it looks hideous, and I will insert a picture. So hopefully you could see the before, which is the hideousness of everything, because I've been, you know, over the last few months, handful of months anyways, I've gotten a new bed, and I've gotten rid of the kids' loft bed. And it was important for me to get rid of my bed because, one, it was so old that we were literally duct taping the corners because they were starting to come apart. And 2, like, I just wanted a new everything because it is hard. It is hard to sleep in a bed and a mattress that you shared with your husband, you know? Even just having that dip where he used to sleep, and it was just, you know, there was that his and her side, right? And I didn't feel right to venture onto his side of the bed, and I never really did anyways, right? And so it just, it didn't feel, I didn't feel, I should say, I didn't feel comfortable sleeping in the same bed where I used to have my husband with me. It just seems weird. I don't know if I'm alone in that thinking, but it didn't feel right, and I wasn't sleeping very well. So I thought, it's a new day, it's a new life, it's a new me. Not really a new me. What am I saying? Well, it's a new life. And I needed to feel like the bedroom could become my sanctuary again, a place of healing and not a place of such supreme sadness. And I do get those moments, of course, but slowly but surely I'm trying to take ownership of the space and make it mine and make it feel like it's somewhere I can heal, The kids have been doing pretty good, and they're so strong. I don't know if I could be that strong to lose my parent, someone that I was so close to, and then 3 or 4 weeks later go to school. Pretty much 3 weeks later go to school. That is tough. That is so tough. And I don't know where there's that natural break between like mourning and then you're over it, or the grieving process, and one day you're grieving and the next day you're okay. But in the case of my kids and going to school, every day they're fighting that sadness and that anxiety, or that need to want to stay home and stay close to me. They fight that and they go to school. And at first the kids were very, nice and understanding, but then as the months progressed, it's almost like, yeah, okay, well, your dad passed away, that's old news. And some of these kids are just they're just cruel. Like, I don't know how to say it any other way. Sometimes they're just so mean. And it just boggles my mind. Like, I can't figure out why someone would put so much energy into being mean when they know that person lost their dad. I don't know what it is in our makeup, in our genetics, in our whatever you want to call it, that makes it okay to make other people feel bad about themselves so that you feel a little better in the moment. And I try to teach my kids resilience, like to rise up above it, because that's all you can do is try to rise up from that, If you let every single thing knock you down and keep you down, you would never get anywhere in life. And I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I'm from a school of hard knocks. Nothing was ever really handed to me. I had to work for everything I had, and I couldn't have that mentality where it was feeling victimized or feeling like the whole world's out to get me. I might as well just stay in my room and never venture out, or just give up. And so I'm trying to instill that in my kids. But I feel like with children, it kind of manifests itself in different ways. Like, for example, my 5-year-old, he's starting to create ailments. And I'm not saying it's all not true, but, from a boy who loved going to his school to waking up and saying, or to him waking up and saying, Mom, my stomach hurts or my legs are weak. Just the other day, he said he was fine. He was fine going to school. He was wearing his brother's old coat that I saved because it's a good raincoat. And he was so excited. He's like, this is my jacket 2.0. And he wore it proudly. And he was standing beside me and we were waiting for his teacher because my son's been a bit shy, or not shy, but a bit clingy lately. And so we kind of do the sort of handoff, hand to hand, where he's holding my hand and then eventually he'll talk to his teacher and then he'll hold her hand and they go off and do their thing. Well, I was waiting with Emery, and it was our first day back from the Easter long weekend. And he was fine until one of the kids he's been having trouble with goes up to him and he goes, Emery, why is your jacket so big on you? And I don't think he meant it in like a horribly mean way or anything. And Emery said very matter-of-factly, he said, this is my jacket 2.0. And the boy went, okay. And then he walked away. And then once the boy walked away, Emery turned and looked at me and he went, oh, Mom, I forgot. I'm sad and I want to go home and stay with you. And so I'm pretty sure that what happened sparked that response. And then it stayed with him the rest of the day, so he wasn't happy. The kids, that boy and another kid were kind of, I don't know, teasing, making fun of, I don't know. And he just, it's like his defenses were down, like he just doesn't have the ability anymore to kind of stick up for himself. And the teachers have been really good and trying to keep an eye on it and redirect the play when it becomes that sort of teasy kind of way. But they're trying to teach Emery to use his words and say stop or come get a teacher. And then they remind the children that sometimes what they think is funny is not funny, and all of those things. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like, I'm getting these emails about, things that they're saying to Emery, or like the things that the teachers are saying to Emery to give him tools and things like that, and things that he needs to work on so that he can handle these situations. And like, I guess the petty part of me is kind of like, dude, he lost his dad, and the fact that he's even coming to school is huge. And then you want him to also handle these kids that are teasing him. And I kind of just said, I in my email, I just said, I think it's time to maybe get the other parents involved, the ones that, the kids that are, the parents of the kids that are instigating this behavior, because, if we didn't have our change of our if we didn't have such a huge loss and a new family dynamic that we're working through, I would feel confident that Emery could do all those things and that he would be okay to handle and weather all of those storms. Because it's natural, right? Kids are trying to figure out how to socialize at this age. I get that. I have an ECE background. I get that. But he's such a bright, confident boy, and he's going through so much. And I said it in my email. I'm quite tired. I'm tired of seeing my confident boy look so powerless and feel so powerless, because you're giving him these tools and he tries them and he says they don't work and he feels deflated, and he's just not even fighting, and I mean that like not physically, but like he's not fighting back. He's not using his words anymore. He's not telling the teachers anymore because he's he feels like those aren't tools that have been working, so he gave up on them. And that breaks my heart, because if you see this boy lights up the world in his face, in his smile, in what he says. And whenever I ask him questions like that, like, why didn't you tell the teacher? Why didn't you go? You should tell the teacher. He'll say, Mom, I just didn't want to get them in trouble. And I was like, oh my boy. And then I have my older one, and he is a ball of temperament. He's always been like this. He so deeply understands what's right and wrong that he will fight to the ends of the earth to fight for his version of right. And so today is Thursday. So today, he called me at about 10:30 today, in tears, at school. And he told me that something happened at school, and his friends were really cruel to him, and he wants to come home. And I said, okay, well, what happened? So I guess they were playing ball, and my son Tristan, I don't know how they play the game, but he threw the ball, and this person was out from whatever happened at that ball, with that ball, and the ball went down the hill. And so Tristan went down to go get the ball, and he said it was really muddy. And he noticed that the girl who he got out from the ball, I don't know how you explain that, he was putting up the fence, the fence. And he said, why are you putting that up? And she goes, so maybe next time, or so, how did he word it? So maybe you can think about what you did, or something, or think about what you've done. And so he's going back up the hill, and he has to go around because she put the fence back up. And he tries to go around and up and over or something, and it was so muddy he fell in the mud, got his pants all muddy, and he got really mad, and he came over, and he had to use a stick, he said, to get up the hill because it was so muddy. And so he had this stick, and he said he threw the stick at her, and I don't condone that because, hello, he threw his stick at somebody. But she goes and she throws the stick back at him, and it hits him in the head. And because he was yelling, and he was like, that wasn't okay, blah, 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 whatever. And the other friend says to him, go do your walk of shame, and like the girls go off and walk away, and Tristan's so upset that he stayed out until the end of recess, called me, and was crying on the phone saying he wanted to come home. And like the thing about this friend that put the gate up, or put the fence up, and all of that stuff is she does so much like malicious stuff. I just don't understand it. And so my initial reaction is, you need to go play with other kids. Like you don't have to play with them. You play with other kids. And he says, I can't because we're in the same cohort, and like they play the only games that I like to play. Everyone else plays like all these different games that I don't really like, or I don't get along with those guys, or whatever. And so it makes it really hard for him to feel like he can venture out of that toxic environment, that toxic relationship, friendship, because of it. And I don't know. I know it's not always going to be this way. COVID has created a lot of restrictions, and I get that. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I would just be like, I'm not going to play with you guys. And I would just play with other kids. I would just strengthen my relationships with the other kids that I maybe see every day, but I don't play with all the time. And so I would strengthen those. But it's difficult. Over Easter, I went and saw my dad and my brother. And my dad, he had a stroke in May, pretty much the next day after I had my baby Tegan. He had a stroke in Philippines, and so he wasn't cleared to fly until November. Then he came back here. And he's getting better. His left side's still weak, but I don't know. I got him some seeds to help, because he loves to plant. He has a great green thumb, and he used to have a chicken farm, and he's used to being kind of active out in the field. And so, with his left side weak, sometimes he uses a crutch to get around, and his left leg kind of drags a bit. I wanted to get him some seeds so he'd be out in the garden or out in the backyard planting. And my brother's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. He doesn't even go down the stairs out back. He doesn't, like, what if he falls back there and I'm not home? What happened? And what could he do? I don't know. It's such a weird situation. And a part of me just wants to be like, okay, well, I guess, like, I can go over there maybe and I can help him garden in the back. But a part of me is like, Jesus, like, you're stretched so thin already. What are you thinking? Like, can you even do that? Or maybe picking him up every day and bringing him over here and working in the garden with us here so I can keep an eye on him? I don't know. But I feel bad because he's not really socializing. He hasn't really left the house. He goes to the back porch to go smoke. And he's smoking a lot. And that's it. He can't walk to the store. He can't, he can't do anything. He can't go anywhere. Unless my brother takes him somewhere. And that's not really fair. So